Hi guys, welcome to another episode of SCN. On today's show, we're going to be talking about how to hold on to all the profit you've got in that car that you're selling privately. And to end off with, as always, we've got a couple of funny videos highlighting a couple of cars that just aren't worth a penny. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how to negotiate with a seller of a car and how to drive the price down. This week, we're on the other side of the fence and we're talking about how to hold on to every penny you've got in that car of yours. Now, as always, what we like to advise is this. Do some homework on the car that you're either buying or selling. This week we're talking about the car you're selling, so get onto Surf4Cars, have a look at what cars similar to yours are selling for, taking into condition the mileage and the year of those cars that you're comparing against. Having done that little bit of homework, you now have a pretty good idea about what your car's worth. And what you need to do now is, in your heart of hearts, you're going to know what you're prepared to take for that car. This week, we're going to take, for example, a car selling for 100,000 Rand, where you know 90,000 Rand would be a great number for you. So you're prepared to take 90,000 Rand in the death for that car of yours. You're going to advertise the car at 100,000 Rand. So we're going to teach you how to hold on to the 10,000 Rand difference and try and get a little bit more for that car than you're actually prepared to accept.
Well, Nick, let's get started. What's the first thing?
Let's not beat around the bush. The first thing you need to do is understand the strengths and weaknesses in the car that you've got for sale. If you've got a low mileage car with a full service history that's in great condition, those are strengths. Remember now, you're selling your car, so turn yourself into a salesman. Don't let the buyer do all the work. You need to be doing all the work. So you're going to highlight the strengths on your car. You're going to highlight the mileage. You're going to highlight the condition. You're also going to highlight the great service history that you've got. Conversely, maybe you don't have such a great car. Maybe it's not that clean. Maybe the mileage is high. Maybe it doesn't have a great service history. You need to try and dress that car up as best you possibly can. And what I'm going to suggest is getting all of the obvious things fixed before you take that car for sale, before you show it to a potential buyer. If it needs a tire or two, put them on. If it needs a windscreen, put it on. If it needs a service to turn some of those lights off, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, turn the lights off. You don't want a guy coming and negotiating with you where the first thing he's going to start doing is chipping you on your price based on a tire or two or a windscreen or anything else. You need to have fixed all of those things so that doesn't become a point of contention. What's going to happen is the guy's going to come and tell you it needs two tires. He's going to have to spend 3,000 Rand, where we both know you can probably fit a tire for 8 or 850 Rand. So go and spend the money, recondition that car before you start that exercise. Now, one question you're going to get asked by any potential buyer is why you're selling the car. And it's important you've got a good idea as to why you're selling the car. Give him a good solid reason why you sold it. And at the same time, why don't you tell him why you picked that particular car? You picked that car when you first bought it because of the condition, because of the price, because of the fact that it's a sought-after motor vehicle. It's easy to run, it's cheap to service, it's cheap to insure. You need to understand why your car is saleable. Having done all of that due diligence, you're now ready to properly take on a buyer, understanding all of the strengths and weaknesses of your car and having put that car into a saleable condition. I'm not saying overcapitalize, I'm saying make it a car worth buying. Now you have your car ready for retail sale. Now you need to really focus on keeping the number, keeping your 100 grand. You want to take as close to that number as you possibly can. But again, in previous shows, we talked about the kind of seller that advertises his car with no offers accepted. That's not the kind of guy I want to deal with. I want to understand that I'm buying from a guy who's prepared to take an offer from me. Except in this particular instance, you need to control how the negotiation is going to go. So again, you want 100,000 Rand for your car, you know you're prepared to take 90,000 Rand. The potential buyer is going to come and he's going to ask you the obvious question, what kind of discount can I get? Your first opening line is going to be this. I tell you what I'm prepared to do, sir. At 100,000 Rand, I will include registration. Now, the registration cost on your car, as you've heard from Murray from Q Solutions, is probably going to cost you anywhere between 200 and 300 Rand. It's not a big amount of money to take off your car, but the act itself sounds like an expensive exercise. So if I'm buying a car and the seller's saying to me, I tell you what, I'll pay for registration, I might say, okay, fair enough. So he's starting to meet me somewhere between what I'd like to pay for the car and he's taken a bit of money off the price of the car. That's the perception. The reality is it's costing you 300 Rand. And again, remember, like we've talked about on earlier shows, you definitely want your car transferred. When you hand the car over to the client, you'd really like it to already be in his name. So you're not really giving up anything at this particular point. But from a buyer's point of view, he thinks you've made your first concession, which is great. So the guy's going to say to you, well, you know, I'd like a bit more of a discount than that. Now the temptation is to knock 5 grand off and say to him, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll take 95. That's not what we do. You've given him the first concession, which is the registration. Now I would suggest you take off 2,500 Rand. It's not a bad margin. It's big enough to make it interesting. But again, you know you've got a little bit of room. You're happy to take 90 in the death. We've now still at 97,500 Rand with your concession, plus your 300 Rand. You're not doing badly. So you knock 2,500 Rand off at that point, and you wait for a reaction. Now the buyer's going to go, okay, fair enough. He's going to try and chip you again as he should, as he would, but you prepared for that. So he says to you, well, I'd like a little bit more off than that. So now you offer another 1,500 Rand. You've come down 2.5, now you're coming down another 15. You've taken 4 grand off the price of the car. You're still happy to take 90 grand, but you're still getting 96,000 Rand, plus you're going to register the car. You've given him 2 concessions. 3 concessions now is what you're looking for. So you're paying for the registration, that's a given. You've knocked 2,500 Rand off. Now you've knocked another 1,500 Rand off. This is where you go, I tell you what I'll do. I wanted 100. I'll take 95,000 Rand for the car, plus I'll throw in registration. So now you've got 4 concessions. You've got 3 bids on price, plus you're prepared to do the registration for the guy. Now he's got to think to himself, fair enough. He's come, he's wanted to negotiate. He's got a 5% discount on the car, which doesn't sound like bad money. Plus you're going to handle the registration, the horrible administration that he doesn't want to do anyway, you're prepared to do.
Yo, I would buy that car.
There you go. That's exactly the kind of reaction you're looking for. So you're looking for a buyer to now say, well, fair enough. I feel like I've got a discount. I've actually monetarily got a discount. Plus the seller's prepared to go the extra mile and make sure the car's registered in my name for me. Now you sound like the kind of guy that's committed to selling your car. You've done very, very well. At this point, you're going to have to make the call. If the guy's still not prepared to buy your car at 95,000 Rand, and understanding you would have taken 90,000 anyway, it's up to you to call the difference. Do not be tempted to now knock another 5 grand off. The problem you've got, you've knocked off 2.5, 1,500, then you've settled at 95. That's not a bad concession. For you now to take a whole 5 off just to close the deal, in the buyer's mind, he thinks you've got a lot more leeway to go. And if you drop that extra 5 grand in one go right now, he's going to keep chipping you. So you need to stand strong. 95,000 Rand, that's your final price. If the guy's then going to count you and say, well, fair enough, it's taken him 20 minutes to get you to knock 5 grand off. He doesn't want to spend his whole day there. He might bid you another 3 grand. And at that point, it's up to you to decide. But remember, you're prepared to take 90,000 Rand. Do not let the guy walk away for a grand or 2 either way. Make sure you get the money you want for your car. Stay strong on the negotiation, and I guarantee the guy will buy it. If you've done your homework and the car looks the part, nobody's going to walk away from a car that they want for 1,000 or 2 either way. Remember, if the guy likes your car, he's already enthusiastic about buying it. You don't have to do a hell of a selling job on him. You just have to stay strong and try and get the money that you really want. Good luck with that sale. Now guys, there are some cars out there, no matter how hard you try, you just can't defend the price you'd like. Imagine trying to describe any of those cars accurately. Good luck with that. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to smash that like button. Check out the original video on the links below. Follow me on Twitter at the Car Guy Nick, like Surf4Cars on Facebook, and follow them on Twitter, and subscribe if you haven't already. I've been Nick, it's been real, we'll see you soon.
Surf4Cars.